All right, what up, people? It's your boy Chig from Guna Eagle Eye coming to you again with a brand new review. And we actually won. We won a game. And not only did we win, we won well. How amazing is that? Joining me today to review the game is Kenny Ken. Say hello to the people, Kenny Ken.
How you doing, guys? Yeah, it was like I said, it was a good, satisfying win. You know, a lot of people expected us to get turned over because of like the Koeman factor and the fact that Everton had a game plan. But you know, what happens is that all I asked for today, prior to the game, was work rate, match them for work rate, move the ball quicker, pass the ball quicker, and we could beat a lot of teams in the Premiership. And I think that's what we did today. Simple. You know, like I said, the teams in the Premiership are very athletic and they will do anything to stop us from playing. You've got to earn the right to play in this league. No good, you know, wait for referees to protect you.
And also joining me today is Sam. Say hello to people, Sam.
Good evening, everybody.
So, all in all, a good Arsenal performance. We won 5-2 against Everton. Finally putting a pressure on a manager that isn't Wenger. Kenny Ken, you summed it up pretty nicely, but go into it a little bit more. What did you think overall about the game, the way we started, the starting lineup? What was your impression of it?
Well, I think Arsenal Wenger's starting lineup, he couldn't afford to defeat today. You know, like so any overlasted like problems in terms of dressing room, in terms of Ozil and Sanchez had to be put to the back burner. You know, we've been calling for Lacazette to play alongside both of them. He's basically had his strong teammate. It's harsh to sound like Alexander Iwobi, but you know, Arsenal couldn't afford to defeat. In terms of the game, the first 10 minutes we murdered them, absolutely murdered them. Ozil was playing good football. He got into the last third where he should be playing. Yeah. We managed to get behind them, and then for some reason, what we did is that Mertesacker's ball wasn't the greatest, but Xhaka, you know, like I said, lost possession. They got and scored a goal, and for about 25 minutes, it's like they were dictating the start of the game. Like they were pressing us, getting in amongst us. Ozil changed his game, stopped doing what he did successfully. He started going into midfield to try and, because he wasn't getting the ball in the positions where he should be being. He went and clogged up the midfield. So our football became very slow. And then Sanchez again was able to go at Ramsey and everything. So what's happening is that we really need that equaliser. As soon as we got that equaliser, we had a couple of chances to go in, you know, like maybe a couple of goals, 2 or 3-1 ahead. Second half, once the game changed, Ozil went back into the last third. You know, so it got close to Sanchez and Lacazette. They all had a good interchange, and they all responded for the second goal. The third goal again, Ozil was involved. Fourth goal, we did some silliness with Petr. Then we got the fifth goal, all deserved. But one thing I want to say is that I've got to give Granit Xhaka some credit, because I thought that, you know, he could have gone in the shell, you know, because he gave away the first goal. But what he did really well, that I was very impressed with, is that he never did. He said, "Look, come on, let's have the ball," and he had a very good game. Yeah. And you know, basically, we did what Arsenal should do. Everton were there for the taking, and we took them out. I'm very, you know, but it's one game at a time.
Yeah, I agree with that, actually. Sam, what was your take on the starting lineup? I think it was the starting lineup that on Twitter, when everyone saw it, it was the one time where I think everyone was like, all right, fair enough. Like, what was your reaction to the starting lineup?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think most people would agree that's probably what everyone wanted to see. I think barring Mustafi for Mertesacker, I think that's probably the strongest lineup, name for name, badge for badge, if you like, that we could probably put out. So I was relatively looking forward to the game, and you know, you put the 3 players that have cost the most in the history of our football club together up front, and you know, we looked dangerous. We looked dangerous from minute 1 to minute 90. We played well the whole game, really, to be fair. Like Kenny said, really, I don't particularly feel that was Granit Xhaka's fault in entirety, the one where he lost the ball and they scored from Rooney's. It was more of a Mertesacker just give it to him and hope he'll get himself out of the situation, and he didn't. He shouldn't be putting him in that position in the first place. If you have a look where Mertesacker plays in the ball, he's got 4 Everton players within about 5 yards of him. So one of them was going to get him. One of them was going to get him, if not all of them. So, not necessarily his fault, but again, like Ken said, totally agree. After that little mistake, his head didn't drop. He didn't go down. And I thought he was really good today. And the people are saying he needs to be dropped. And maybe at some point, maybe in the future, maybe he needs to have a little quiet word with him or something. But he is key, I think, to our game, Xhaka, because he gets the ball. His passing range is absolutely fantastic. No one else can pass the ball like he can in our team. So I was really impressed today. I thought we played really well. We looked dangerous throughout, but again, defensively, 2 goals. They should never have been goals. Both mistakes from our end, or causing problems for ourselves. But yeah, good performance. But I will say that the league table at this precise moment in time doesn't lie, and Everton played like a team who were going to get relegated and have been for the past 3 or 4 games. They weren't very good today at all. So I just think we need to take that into consideration. And one final thing, I think everyone's fully aware of my feelings towards Ozil over the past however many months. Yes, he was absolutely amazing today, but there is no point in him being amazing now and crap for the next 6 games and not putting that standard of performance is what we all expected him to do week in, week out when we paid £42 million for him. Now, that hasn't happened, and, loads of people are, Ozil, but that's rubbish. Alex Iwobi has a brilliant game every so often, but he didn't cost us £42 million, and he doesn't want £300,000 a week. So we need to put it into perspective, I think, on that sort of individual. We really need to get the best out of him for the next couple of months. If he goes, he goes. If he stays, he stays. I'm not bothered either way.
Yeah, I 100% agree with everything you said about Mesut. I mean, let's come on to Mesut Ozil. I thought he did really well. I thought it was a bit premature, the kind of level of praise he was getting in the first half in terms of, I think people were saying he was outstanding in the first half. I thought he was good. I thought he made a couple of key passes. Like Ken said, really, I thought in the latter third, in the first 10 minutes when we were all over them, I thought he was really pulling the strings. And then whenever he comes deep, it's always a bad sign to me, because Mesut Ozil is not a quarterback type of player. He's not a Santi Cazorla in that respect. He's not someone who can drop deep and then start influencing things, like a David Silva type, if you like. So it's always a little bit of a worry when he starts doing that. I think he's best only thinking about going forward. And when he did that, I thought he was really, really good. Ken, you faced a lot of criticism, particularly recently, about the things that you've said about Mesut and Sanchez, which I agree with, FYI. What was your take on the whole Mesut Ozil performance today?
Well, that's the thing about Ozil is you hit the nail on the head. Mesut Ozil plays his best football in the last third. I've watched him at Werder Bremen in the last third, and has little pockets from about 40 yards out. That's when he plays his best football, because what will happen is that when defenders on the retreat are trying to get back in position, he's got a quick mind, he passes it, and he spots a runner. And another thing I like what he's capable of doing is actually being a false number 9 and getting in the box to score goals. Because what's happening is that because defenders don't see his runs when he's in that last third, he'll go like you look at the goal today. Alexis Sanchez put that cross in. I think it was a Jagielka. Didn't even see that runner coming in. He goes in. It's just like his goal against Watford. That's when Mesut Ozil plays his best football. Like when he plays for Real Madrid, he was playing that position. When he plays for Germany under Lowe does not play him in midfield. Never does. But whenever it happens in Arsenal, whenever we're struggling in the game, we're trying to chase a game, he comes into midfield and he's ineffective. Everyone said he had a great game against Stoke. He didn't. He was basically in the midfield trying to play from deep, and all Stoke did was slam the door shut. Every time I put a pass in. That's not Mesut Ozil at his best. Today, first 10 minutes, he was finding the passes. He made some assists for I think it was for Alexis Sanchez and Lacazette. He was fantastic. And then when we like I said, went the goal down, he panicked again by going in and said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to help Xhaka out." And what happened when he went into midfield? Idrissa Gueye followed him. So instead of marking Xhaka, he marked Ozil. And what he did is he neutralised his strengths.
Yeah.
And then when we got that equaliser, Ozil went further forward. That's when he was playing his best football. In the second half, he was fantastic because he's played to his strengths. All Mesut Ozil has to do, if he wants to be consistent in this league, is, for the life of me, play in the last third of the pitch where you can hurt the opposition. Doesn't matter if you're not getting the ball. You will get the ball eventually because we're a passing team. Ball. And then mocking yourself out the game. Or because the only time I want you in midfield is when we're in defending. And when we need a body in there to stop the runs. That's where we need you. Because you don't do that very well anyway. But when we're in attack, I don't want you there. And I think that's the thing with Mesut. He's a fact. That's when he plays best football. But if Mesut, like I said, wants to, do what he can, he's never going to be effective for Arsenal. So I think he's going to be here till about January because I think it'd be suicidal to let him go without his transfer fee. So until January, play in that position, you will have a lot of joy. And whoever, any prospective suitors would definitely buy you and spend a lot of money on you if you play your best football. If Ozil's trying to up his game in order to get a next club, then fine. Good luck with that. But make sure it benefits us before you bugger off. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and that is a point I wanted to kind of pick up with Sam. I heard Lee say it on Arsenal Fan TV, and some cynical people might say that he upped his performance drastically because he wants a move in January. To, if you believe the story, is Man United. It was such a drastic change in performance, and I think people lose sight of that. I for one, have never said that Mesut Ozil is a crap player. My frustration with Mesut is I know he has it. And I honestly believe he has world-class ability. But why I don't feel he's world-class is because he's not nearly consistent enough. Like, he pulls out this performance out of his arse. All right, brilliant. Where has that been for about 2-3 months? Where's that been since the start of the season? I know you're a harsh critic of Mesut Ozil, so I wanted to get your full take on his performance today.
I just want to sort of go back to where Kenny was saying. I totally agree with that. I think he does excel in the final third, especially because his touch is so good. His first touch on the ball, controlling and passing, his passing and movement is outstanding. And that's where he does all his damage. In and around the box, little sharp passing, because he's so quick on the ball. And when he receives it, he's always putting it in the right position. And it gives him that extra split second to make another decision. And his movement when he's running in and around, I just think that's where, like Kenny said, I think that's where he's best. Yes, he might not see as much ball as he wants to playing there, but he needs himself. But yeah, I mean, he was brilliant today. There's no two ways about it. But how many times over the 3-4 years have we seen that level of performance from him? To be honest, it's not like that's been once every other week or once every 2 weeks. That is a very rare thing we've seen today from Mesut Ozil. I think he created something like 7 chances before half time. That's like the Premier League record. But I haven't seen the interview from on Arsenal Fan TV, but it does very much look like he's trying to, maximise the salary he's obviously going to want and receive from wherever he goes next. I personally believe that he's made up his mind where he's going to go already. I don't think he'll stay with us. I can't see it. I think he's made up his mind, and I think whatever's happened people have been in his ear all summer. We're not going to pay for you now. Wait till next year. We'll get you on a free, or we'll get you for 20 million in January, whatever it will be. And we'll do. And now he's getting close to that time, and the negotiations could probably start. I think he has got to play better to get the kind of salary he thinks he's worth and demanded. Because, be honest, who's going to want to pay him 300,000 or whatever he wants? You know, there ain't many teams out there that's going to want to pay him that, because he's not been.
Okay, so in terms of the kind of uplift in performance, do you think? I mean, Kenny, you said it at when you reacted to the starting lineup. It seems like our uplift in performance coincided with the fact that we started with Lacazette, we started with Ozil, we started with Sanchez, and the three, to be fair, worked really well together. What's your take on the whole AOL combination?
Well, I think what's happening is that one thing you've got is movement and quick people who are comfortable on the ball, and people who, like I said, who are good, very passers of the ball. So what's happening is that they all know where the dangerous areas are. Even when they play deep, what happens is that Lacazette knows that when he plays deep, he's got Sanchez on the left-hand side and Rose on the right-hand side. He knows he can get the ball quickly, and then he can move. And I think that's one thing that you know we could have done with, to be honest, a few years back. Now that's no criticism of Olivier Giroud. Olivier Giroud is what he is. He's worked hard to move to Arsenal. He's basically a French lower league player who's worked his butt off to get 100 goals for our football club, and he's worked his butt off to be a first choice at Didier Deschamps' team, French national side. However, in terms of what we need to break teams down, the Olivier, Ozil and Sanchez axis isn't workable, because simple reason Olivier's movement isn't the greatest. So having those three together, it gives us a movement, and what happens is that it penetrates defences. We can get behind teams much more, especially in the last third in the penalty box. And I think that's where they're at their strength. It's a pity that last season, when Lacazette was, talks about that Arsene Wenger didn't make that move for him. He should have made that move for him. That you don't know what could have happened, but from what I'm seeing, that probably could have resulted in us challenging for the championship rather than just going for the top four. I do think he was that good,
and maybe even convincing the likes of Alexis and Ozil to sign on.
I think the trouble with Alexis and Ozil, I think you've got to realise is that Alexis and Ozil are not from Islington or Milton Keynes or any of these areas. They're professional footballers who are contracted to do a job for Arsenal. That the best thing they can do is work their butts off and honour their contracts and conduct themselves in a very professional and respectful manner. I'm not sure that the both of them in the last few weeks, since definitely since the summer, have done that, in my opinion, and I think they're affecting the dressing room. But like I said, we can't cry over spilt milk. But this is the basis of what you can get if you have these three together. And unfortunately, when these guys go, Arsene Wenger's going to have to change the way we play, because you're not going to get players like Alexis Sanchez and Ozil get. It's not sure what will happen. Players like that don't grow in trees. So what will happen is that you may, when they go, have to build a side with Lacazette and be more direct, because of Lacazette's ability to get behind the team, get behind them defenders. So for me, it's been fantastic. After one game, I'm very convinced, but it's a missed opportunity for me. Sad, but that's what happens at football, isn't it? Actually, don't tie down your best players. You get things like this.
Yeah, it does. It does really feel like too little, too late. Even when I put it out there, it's like, it's strange what happens when you get what fans have been asking for ages, for the three to play together. We win and win well, and they all score. And just the amount of people that came back and said, yeah, it's a shame it's too little, too late. And Sam, what about you? I mean, is that your feeling about the three playing together at the moment? Is there just a resignation that two of these guys are going to be off in January anyway? January is around the corner.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I've said it before. I'll probably say it again and say it many times moving forward. Not particularly overly bothered about Ozil leaving. You know, the way we play, perhaps we could find, you know, more of a direct sort of number 9, 2 direct number 8, like a bit more pace, bit more an upgrade on Theo, someone like that, you know, to play either side of Lacazette and go, you know, really fast, sort of counter-attacking team like we used to be. But I'm really disappointed about Alexis. He will never be. He is a one-off. You know, there's no other player like him that we can go and get for 40, 30, 40 million. You've got to be looking at 100, 150 million to replace someone like that. But yeah, very disappointed that they're both going. And like we needed to replace Van Persie. What was it, 3-4 years ago? We never did. We struggled on. We just got by. We managed. We gave Theo a go. We had Alexis up there for a bit. We gave Giroud a go. But it was never going to be a long-term thing. We knew Lacazette. We knew about him. Everyone knew about him 3-4 years ago. We didn't take the punt, or we didn't give it a go. Why we will never, you know, we could have gone and got a striker. We should have gone, and I just feel like now I almost week in, week out together. They're going to bond. They're going to look really good to be broken up within 3-4 months. 2-3 months, sorry, because Christmas, isn't it soon? Yeah, 2-3 months, and yeah, I've just it's a real shame that we've got a real, you know, an attacking trio that, you know, are probably, you know, debatable up there with the best in the world.
Okay, well, I mean, onwards and upwards. It's Norwich next, and in theory, we should be able to beat them. And I think at the moment, genuinely as Arsenal fans, I think most Arsenal fans prefer watching the youngsters play in the Europa and in the League Cup at the moment than the main team. Even though today the main team really does step up to the plate. Ken, why do you reckon that is at the moment? Like, why do you think that there's so much buzz around the kids at the moment?
Well, simple reason. The reason why there's buzz around the kids because there's vacancies in that team. There's blatantly vacancies. No player is, you know, like I said, it's shone in glory. The only players that are sure of their places for me are Petr Cech, because Ospina has been a very poor number 2. Petr Cech still got it for me. I fully respect the fact that he isn't what he was when he was at Chelsea. And Monreal picked themselves. Apart from that, there's places like for grabs. So when you watch the European games and the Carling Cup games, you'll see Cech back to his best because he's getting a lot of space in those games, especially in the Europa League and the Carabao Cup. And you get excited because you see someone like Granit who's struggling. And you think, well, there's no automatic replacement for Granit. Or you'll see someone like, you know, maybe Mesut Ozil's had, you know, his head's not in the right place. Well, Jack can play there. And you've got, you know, Reece Nelson's exciting a lot of Arsenal players, Arsenal fans. And so is Maitland Niles. So they can fit in that team. But one thing I would say, I fully respect every fan's view that you want players to play in that position. But one thing I would say is that this is how we play now. We play 3 centre halves. We play wing backs. So anyone who wants to get in that team has to adjust to the way we've got to play.
Yeah.
And that includes Reece Nelson. As much great as he is, he's only 17. A 17-year-old can't dictate how we should be playing. But the exciting thing about that is that he is showing his quality. And if Ozil and Sanchez go in January, which we think is likely, we are going to need players from our squads in the Carling Cup or Europa League to step up now because they'll be getting a lot of first-team football. But it's not just that. Iwobi needs to step up the play as well.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Iwobi's he needs to improve 2 things. His fitness and finishing. He's getting a run inside. He's fit. You know, he's beefed out a bit. But one of the things that I'm concerned about is not his final ball. needs a bit of work, and his finishing's appalling. Like, it's easy to criticise Ozil last week for missing that chance, but he missed just as good as a chance as well. So that's a few things we've got to look at. It's for Arsenal fans need to be looking at the future, and the future's actually right in front of your eyes in terms of like the Europa League and the Carabao Cup. There are vacancies in that team. It probably is not. It's probably going to be like a situation where we ain't going to win anything. We're probably going to finish further down the table, but it's one of those things where we've got another rebuilding job on. And when Arsene Wenger finally goes, and I pray he does go sooner rather than later, we've got the biggest rebuilding job of all. Because I'll tell you one thing, whoever joins Arsenal is inheriting a mess, an absolute mess of all proportions, and it's going to take time. And I hope you guys have got patience, and I hope I live long enough to witness us coming at the end of that tunnel, because it's going to be a massive tunnel.
Yeah,
in the next few years.
I completely agree with you. I think when Wenger does leave, it's going to take at least a minimum of 2-3 years. And I think in a way, and I suppose to answer my question, and I'll get Sam's view in a minute, my view is that the kids doing well in this tournament is paramount, because like Can just said, I think it's going to take 2 or 3 years to actually fix these issues. And at least if we have in the meantime a kind of a foundation or a basis of young players who can do a job who we can potentially build the team around, the core of the team around, whether that's if Jack can play a consistent amount of games, 30 to 40 games a season, whether that's if Xhaka can get his head together, and because he's still a young player, he can still develop. You know, Mustafi, we almost sold him in the summer. You know, but he's still a young player. People forget that he's 25 years old. You know, these are the type of players that Arsenal Football Club should be building a future for. And I'm wondering, Sam, what's your take on the Carabao Cup, the kids, the Europa Cup? Are you excited to watch them play at the moment? Hello?
What, Sam?
Oh, I think he's gone. Oh,
we lost him.
Yeah, we lost him. Okay.
I think he might need to come back in.
No worries. Yeah, he'll probably come back in.
Yeah, he's come back in. He's coming in. He's giving one patient. He's come back in the call now.
No worries.
There he is.
I don't know what's going on. It's really poor connection.
Right, you good?
We can hear you, don't?
Can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear him? Can you hear him, Chris?
Yeah, you can hear him.
Yeah, we can hear you, Chris. Sam.
Hello?
Oh, he can't hear us.
Okay.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What was the question, Chris? It was like really bad connections, technical issues. The connection was really bad. What was the question, Matt? I could not hear anything you were saying.
Oh, right, I see. Okay, so it's just literally just to get an idea of what you felt about the kids. Are you excited to see the kids play in the Carabao Cup and the Europa League at the moment?
Absolutely, mate. For me, the connection of, you know, they've been with the club for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years since they were real young. They've got Arsenal in their blood. I'm hoping that these kids chose to play for Arsenal because they support Arsenal and they're London lads and they're going to want to stay, a bit like hopefully Jack will want to stay. You know, the connection with the club is there. That is so important to have, you know, a real core of be there and love the club and will do every blood, sweat and tears, Tony Adams type players and people like that. And I personally, with all the hype around Reece Nelson, I really, really, really like that Joe Willock.
Me too.
I think he looks absolutely fantastic, mate. For an 18-year-old to have that sort of engine on him, he's got a decent build. he's good on the ball. I think he's going to be a really, really, really good player. I love seeing him play, to be honest with you. The only thing I would say at the moment is I wish he wouldn't play that Reece Nelson at wing back. I think they should be play. At that age, it's not that they can't learn, but to give them the best opportunity to make them feel like they're part of the team and contributing. Play them in their right positions.
Yeah.
Give him show what he's all about. Once he's there, is where it should be, and and he's playing well. Then introduce. Oh, right, we're going to play your right wing back now. Let's give this a go. We know what you're going to do. You're an Arsenal first team member. Don't wreck his confidence by playing him out of position, because these young lads, yes, they'll have a lot of self-belief, but they need to feel wanted and part of the team, and they'll need to show what they can do. And I probably feel he's getting a little bit frustrated. Maybe he's enjoying it as much as he can, but I just think they should be playing in their correct positions.
I quite like Reece Nelson a lot. I think my issue with Reece is that I can understand that he's playing as a right wing back. I also agree. I think it would be good to give the lad some confidence, play him in this position. I get the mentality of playing him as a right wing back because Wenger wants him to learn the defensive role, but he's 17.
He's not. The thing is, Chris.
Can't always wait until he turns 21 at least.
Yeah, Chris. I'll just jump in there. He plays when he plays in the under-23s and under-20s and under-18s. He plays as an.
Sam, are you still there? I can't really hear you. I feel like you're speaking, but I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you, Sam. Yeah,
Okay.
shout a bit. Shout.
Can you hear?
Yeah. Chris, can you hear him?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
I can. I've abandoned my headphones. I feel like that's a better way of doing it.
Okay, right. Okay. I've abandoned. Right. So, where were we? When Reece Nelson plays for the under-23s or the B team, reserve teams, whatever, he plays in the number 10 role, and he scores and he gets about and he defends and he gets back, and he is the best. He was like Jack Wilshire was at 16, 17 playing in those teams. Absolutely head and shoulders above every single player on the pitch by an absolute mile. Now, right wing back, he's never going to be a right wing back for us. He's going to play in that number 10 position, in that, Alexis Sanchez position. Why don't we give him an opportunity there? Show him what he can do. And then, yes, a year, whatever, then get him to introduce a little bit more variety into his game. But he's never going to be a right wing back. He's just not. He's not that type of player. And I understand, Wenger does like to do this and get them out of their comfort zone and all that and teach them new things. But, you won't put a 17-year-old goalkeeper right back and ask him to play there for a few games, because he's not going to play there, is he? He's going to play in goal.
Yeah. And just to explain, because the chat room are probably wondering, why are we talking about Reece Nelson at the moment? For me, it's the idea of talking about Reece Nelson is first and foremost, we've got Norwich on Tuesday. Nelson's most likely to play in that game. And secondly, you can't really discuss Ozil and think long term. So you've got to think about the players that are potentially going to replace Ozil. So people like your Alex Iwobis, who I want to come back to in a second. People like your Reece Nelsons. People who are going to be here going forward. And that it isn't just about this game. This game was wonderful. We performed well. Ozil performed brilliantly. One of the best performances I've seen him play in an Arsenal shirt. But it doesn't fix everything because he had one good performance. It's about taking this performance and going forward. And speaking of another player that could potentially take his place, Alex Iwobi, Kenny Ken. And I'm gonna leave Sam purposefully second on this one because I know Sam is one of the people who's recently criticised him, so I'm going to come back to him. But
nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Because I think about it is that Sam's got every right to do that. Because I think what I said last week was that when you analyse an Arsenal game, I said that on last week. I said that on Twitter today. No one's related to no one. There's no brothers here. There's no sisters here. There's no grandfathers. No friends here. Whenever you analyse an Arsenal game, you analyse it fairly and constructively. And if they're playing poor, you'd say it. Doesn't matter who you from the same country as someone or from the same hometown as everyone. Let me get you know what I mean? You say it as it is. And Alex Iwobi shouldn't stir up emotions amongst any of our supporters. He's a young player coming through, but there are deficiencies in his game. People should be able to say that. We're not trying to destroy the guy's career, but Alex Iwobi's got two things wrong with him. I call it the two Fs. His fitness isn't the greatest. It's getting better. His finishing is appalling. And his final ball wasn't great. Against Watford last week, he got himself into fantastic positions. Running from deep. He was running at defenders, but his final ball was atrocious. That's a fact. No, nothing personal. That's something he can improve with work on the training ground. His finishing he can work on the training ground. That chance where Ozil's laid on the plate for him, he should be putting away. That was a back pass. Right? You lever that. We go 2-0 up against Watford. The game's out of sight. No matter how well Watford play, and they're a good team at the moment, but teams like Watford, you know what happens in the beginning of a Premiership season? You're always going to get a smaller club, and I say that in inverted commas, will have a good start this season. But that's the reason why they have a good start this season, because they catch teams by surprise. Because the big clubs, 9 out of 10 times, have had players playing in international tournaments. So by September, and even into October, they're catching up on their fitness. But when it comes into maybe January and everything, when their fitness is at level with everyone else, they pull away from teams like Watford. That's a fact. And I think that's the thing with Alexander Iwobi. He's got everything, like I said, all the attributes to do well, but there's still a lot of things he needs to iron out. And I think maybe Sam will agree with me on that.
Yeah. I guess what my critique is, because obviously I like Iwobi. I think he's a good player. I think he has a lot of potential to him. I think he's a young player. I do think he gets like Ozil level criticism leveled at him, and I don't really understand that. I do think he has drawbacks to his game. I do get frustrated with him myself.
I think the thing. Sorry, can I just cut in, Chris? Sorry about that. I think you've got to realise Alexander. Sorry about it. The thing about Alexander Iwobi, you've got to realise this is his third season in the team, and even though he's a young lad, he's got experience now. What people want to see now is progression. They want to see more of that final product. They want to see the goal return. They want to see that final ball being improved. And when they're not seeing that, they're going to get frustrated because Alex Iwobi is not a young player anymore. He's an experienced performer. Where the frustration comes on. It's not personal criticism. You've got to realise another thing as well. He's replacing Mesut Ozil in a lot of games. A lot of people are Ozil fans. Ozil excites a lot of Arsenal fans. It excites them. It's not so much from work rate, but the final product. And when he does on his game, it's memorable. And you've got a young lad trying to replace him. He's always going to be up against that.
True. And that to be fair, that is a very good point. He is the heir to the throne, if you like, if you look at it in that respect. So if that's the case, he needs to be able to show that level of consistency to avoid the criticism that he is getting. Sam, I know I may be taking that tweet last week out of context. So let me get your overall opinion. Do you like Alex Iwobi as a player? Do you rate him as a player?
I do, yeah. I think he is a player I would put in the massive potential bracket. I think he's got all the attributes to be a really good player for us. But at this precise moment in time, we need a bit more of a polished individual.
Like a Miles type.
Yeah, we need someone who will, when needed, be thrown into the team and will guarantee us goals and guarantee us assists. The two things that he lacks at the moment is his end product and his finishing. Now, we need that. His players in those positions, the front three, need to be good finishers, movement, strength, and final ball. He's got everything, potentially. But this is where the coaches need to get it into him as quickly as possible so these rough edges are ironed out as quickly as possible. So when he is thrown in, he delivers. He should be getting 10 to 15 goals a season for us if he's playing 20, 25, 20. Just say if we have 60 games a season, if he's playing 20, 25, he needs to be getting 10 to 15 goals and, maybe half a dozen assists, 10 assists. You know what I mean? He needs to really polish up. But what I will say is, as I said previously, he's an Arsenal boy. He's been there from day one. Mm-hmm. Players like that, always get a bit more time, a bit more, I won't say rope, but,
Rightly so, do you think?
Yeah, we should do, mate. He's a young lad. He's a young boy. How many games has he played? 50, if that. Mm. We've got a. Yes, we can criticise, but we're not criticising it in a negative way. It's to help him not to help him specifically, but we want him to be better. We want this. We want. I'd love him to turn out world class in the next 2, 3, 4 years. Brilliant. Mm. A player that we brought through the academy, a Nigerian international who's a world-class player that plays for Arsenal. I'd love it. It'd be brilliant. Mm. That's what we want and that's what we need. But at this precise moment in time, I just feel as if he needs a little bit more work. Mm. And
not that you don't believe he'll get.
At the moment, we're at such a. I don't want us to fall any further behind the other teams above us. And I don't want us to fall any further behind, when Wenger leaves, hopefully it'll be like tomorrow. But hopefully when he does leave, I don't want someone to come in and it be a 2-3 year gap before we start really becoming the team that we all know and hope. But until then, we're never going to know, are we? So we are where we are. But yeah, he's got bags of potential, massive potential as a footballer.
Kenny, I don't really hear you talking about transfers a lot, and I was just thinking, as we look ahead to the future, and towards January, flip me, we're almost at the end of October, believe it or not. See, it's just run away completely. As we get closer and closer to January, we talked about potentially internal options that we could use to replace your likes of, your Ozils or your Sanchez's. Let's just say the worst is to happen and both go, right? Mm. I imagine Wenger will look towards internal options, but he may look towards the transfer. A miracle might happen and he might decide, right, I'm going to spend some money on an external. Who would you like to see come in?
Well, the most likely player to come in would be Lamar, because Arsenal, all around through the summer, we were looking at Lamar. We weren't meeting Monaco's valuation. That's why we didn't get him. All this garbage that Lamar said is that reason why we didn't get Lamar is because they sold so many players. It's rubbish. Every player's got their price, regardless of who they are. Yeah. And the most important thing is, in terms of Lamar, is that at the 11th hour, when we gave Sanchez permission to go to Man City, we went, albeit too late. I mean, actually, he's trying to concentrate on his country in the World Cup qualifier against Sweden. So basically, what's happening, I do see Arsenal going for him in that respect. I can see that happening, because I'm not saying that it's good for Monaco. But, you know, we're halfway there, in my opinion, in terms of getting him. In terms of getting another player again, I don't see us going for a central midfield option until probably on the end of the season.
I agree.
So I think that's where we definitely are weak. But in terms of a quick-fire player, let's just go and think, get Lamar in. Definitely. And just pray that, you know, he gets an understanding of Lacazette and whoever's left. And then, you know, we hit the ground running. But the thing with January transfers is that, as you all know, they're hit and miss. You only have to go back 45 years.
Yeah.
Man City were on top of the first division. You know, leading it in 1972. They go and buy Rodney Marsh. What happened there, eh? Or Newcastle 21 years ago when they were going for the title, they go and buy Faustino Spria. Not saying he cost them the title, but the momentum went. Yeah. You know what I mean? But seeing as we're in dire straits, we could actually do it the other way, i.e., getting like I said, Lacazette to actually kick-start our season and help us out. So, Lamar is definitely the person. For me.
Who would be the all-one player? Because I can't imagine Wenger bringing in more than one for some reason.
You know what I'm going to say? I know we're not going to turn this into a Wenger bashing but I'll be honest with you, I won't give him anything. I don't want him to spend the money. I'd rather just struggle now and let someone spend the money who he wants. Because what's the point? I'm getting to the point now that Wenger's got he's got a year left on his contract. What is he going to do in that year? What that final year? That our new manager needs to be within the team, being handed over from this summer till next summer till he takes over. We need to do something like that, in my opinion. We can't just let Wenger walk out the door. Is he going to? Because I read his interview in Sky Sports. He was on about maybe not retiring at the end of this contract. So I was like, oh my God, I want to kill myself.
Oh no, please no.
People in cold sweats, like what? Come again.
I will commit suicide if he signs. I can't take it. But in all seriousness, I think Lamar's. I think he pretty much knows that he's going to come. I think Lamar wants to come. I think we've got it sort of wrapped up. We just need to get the numbers sorted and get it over the line. But then I think we're going to definitely need another centre back. We needed one in the summer. We didn't do it. Look where we are now. Mertesacker's retiring at the end of the year. I think we need a goalkeeper. 100% need a goalkeeper. And yeah, I think we need a central midfielder as well. I think we need practically a full spine and Lamar.
But there's never going to be a time where we're ever going to talk about the transfer market and not needing a spine.
No.
Every single time we have a conversation, it's a spine, essential
he's never replaced the quality and the calibre of player that have left over the 10 years. We needed. I'm hoping Lacazette was the Thierry Henry, was the Van Persie that we've missed so many years. You know, we need another Tony Adams, Sol Campbell, Martin Keown type. We need another David Seaman. We've had some shit goalkeepers.
Yeah.
Over the last 15 years, we have had some shitters. Lehman and Seaman were probably the only two who were good enough, I think. And Cech, but he's on the decline, so we'll sort of give and take with him. I never really wanted him, to be honest with you. I never really wanted Cech, but he's turned out as a half decent signing. But yeah, he won't be able to carry on for much longer.
It's kind of like Kenny Keown said offline to me though. There isn't a lot of top keepers out there. No. Not really.
But Everton's goalkeeper today, how many times did he say? I know he cost 30 million or whatever it was, but if you're going to have him for 10 years, 3 million a season.
Yeah.
We're going to spunk 20 million, whatever, on a goalkeeper for 4 or 5 years, and he'll be useless.
I still think Butland is the guy.
Oh, definitely.
I don't even know why we're wasting time. Just how much do you want from him? Just take him.
When I was growing up, historically, England's number one was always the Arsenal goalkeeper. I want to get back to those days because I miss it. I miss England's number one. We need to have that goalkeeper of that calibre back. We really do.
Okay. So it looks like, getting back to the game, it looks like Koeman is under pressure. Am I the only one here? I still think he's a good manager. I just think he spent it terribly. I think he spent it terribly. I don't know what you think, Kenny Cab.
I think he's a fantastic manager and he's got a good thing. But at the end of the day, you can only be as good as a manager of what you got. You know? Yeah. I think the problem he's got is that he sold 25 goals a season to Man United, and he ends up buying 3 number 10s.
Yeah,
more for him. Because what's happening is that what will happen is that when Everton go a goal down in matches, they haven't got the quality of player to get them back in the game. So what will happen is that they rely heavily on set pieces, mistakes from either side, and then what will happen is that games get taken away from them. Ray Rooney is playing further deep because of his advancing years. Sigurdsson is what he is. Very good player, hasn't got much pace, very good at dead ball situations. But guess what? Every football team, even Arsenal, every football team, probably the exception of Arsenal, but even Arsenal maybe, they practice defending set pieces.
Exactly.
So what will happen is that, if you're not part of the wide away club, then like I said, you will concede from a set piece, but you shouldn't be conceding for set pieces. So where is the quality to getting those goals? I've got a young lad from Sheffield United, but again, he's a young lad. So you can't rely on him. And I think that's where Koeman's gone wrong. He's allowed him. He's, like I said, I think that's the trouble with a lot of teams. When you have money to spend, you get all excited, and your fans get excited. But what they don't realise is that money has to be spent properly.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't get spent properly, you're back to square one. And that's the thing. What Koeman should have done is said, right, I am going to get a top striker.
I think they fully expected to get Giroud, and for whatever reason, didn't have a plan B option.
Well, Giroud's happy at Arsenal. Giroud's happy at the club. Like I said, you've got to realise someone like Giroud, he's a French guy who 10 years ago, if you told Giroud that he'd be playing for Arsenal when he was playing for low league football in Tours in France, he'd have thought you were a certified lunatic. But look at him, he's worked his way to the top. He ain't going to leave Arsenal. It's very difficult to get players to leave Arsenal, especially players like Giroud.
Yeah.
Top class players who haven't won much. Oh, it's easy to get them to leave. But someone like Giroud ain't going to leave. Same with Theo Walcott. It's going to be difficult to get him to leave Arsenal because this is as good as it gets for those two.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Walcott
at this stage is straight up a mercenary. that's all he is at the moment.
Yeah, but like I said, he's been a last chance saloon for a lot of Arsenal fans and with the manager. And time's up now. We bought Lacazette. We've got pace around it. And even if these guys, have you noticed that when Alexis Sanchez and Ozil don't play, Walcott still doesn't get the side? What does that tell you?
Yeah. Because he can't play in the system. And if I'm Walcott, I'm sweating at the likes of Reece Nelson's development and all these types of players, because how is he going to get in this team? He's not going to be able to do it. It's a shame for him. But for me, I just feel like he's not good enough. People will always point to the fact that, he's a statistics guy. He does get goals sometimes, occasionally. He goes through a purple patch and it makes his statistics look better than they actually are. But for me, if we can sell him, his contract's up at the end of next season, I believe. I would say sell him, take what you can get from him. Liverpool tend to overspend on these types of players. So hopefully they might be interested in just sell him, cut our losses. Sam, what's your opinion on Koeman? Do you feel like he's a good manager? Do you rate him?
Yeah, I think he's an absolutely excellent manager. I think he was sort of sounded out for a bit of a Arsenal manager in there.
Yeah, Barca at one point as well.
Yeah, I think he's a good manager. I think he spent poorly in the summer, though, to be honest with you. But you know, you sometimes get rid of Lukaku and not replacing him. 25, 30 goals a season is going to be very difficult. You know, you're taking on perhaps someone he didn't want to sign 100% in Rooney. I think that was maybe part of the deal or part of the sort of negotiation for Lukaku. You take have him, give us blah blah blah. I think that was part of the sort of situation with that, and he's not been able to find a proper number 9 or a goal or someone to replace. I think he's made some bizarre signings as well. Ashley Williams, Sigurdsson for 50 odd million. I'd never have paid that sort of money for those players, but I think he's a good manager. I'll be disappointed if he doesn't get. I'll be disappointed if he gets a sack. I think he's got a lot more to give, but I can't see the board of Everton giving him 150 million and him sacking him after 4 months. They've got to give him time. He's got to be able to get them playing how he wants, get them going how he wants. He can't just like give him 3-4 months and then get rid of him. They've got too much quality to go down over a 38-game season, but they're not playing particularly well at the moment at all.
And apparently, it seems like Big Sam might be favourite to take over if he does get sacked, which is astounding to me. But all right, I don't know. I think Everton could do better than that personally. But there you go.
Definitely.
All right. So as we kind of edge towards wrapping things up here, obviously we're getting into crucial times now. I mean, Norwich and Swansea aside, which are 2 games that you should expect that Arsenal win somehow, some way. I would expect them to win both of those games. So let's assume they do. Then the games that follow, Europa League aside, Man City and Tottenham. And the way both teams are playing at the moment, they're playing, as much as it disgusts me and pains me to say, they are playing incredibly well. I mean, Kenny Ken, are you confident ahead of those 2 games?
Well, the thing about it, right, is that you destroy confidence when you go into those games if you don't get the results you should be getting against Norwich, you know, like Swansea, and, you know, Belgrade as well. I think the problem what Arsenal fans have done over the years, and I think a lot of big clubs do as well, is they don't take it one game at a time.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, mental. Man United clearly were not doing that because they took a one game at a time until they beat Huddersfield. But you should be thinking about, oh yeah, we played them in the Champions League, we've got a game against Swansea, then we've got a big game against Spurs. No, your next big game is your next game.
Yeah.
Our next big game is against Norwich. We can't think about Man City and Tottenham. The reason why, because simple reason is that we run the risk of putting ourselves under incredible pressure when we go into those games because we've had bad results. And I think saying that, if you ask me right now, let's just say, in terms of the way football's going, Man City, Tottenham, probably Man United are playing a level of football which is conducive to them winning the league. Football nowadays, the top teams in Europe and in this country have athletic players, i.e. midfielders, who basically run the game, not just by tactical know-how, they also run it by physicality. And then what they do nowadays is that they move the ball at great pace and a great movement. And I do think that those clubs definitely play that level of football, and I think Man United fall in that category as well. So you ask me right now, we're going to have a job in our hands getting some out of those games. But we'll have a bigger job in our hands getting some out of those games if we take our upcoming games too lightly, because that could really mess us up. And I do think we've got to have abducts on one game at a time mantra. If not, in 3 or 4 weeks' time, we're going to be here effing and being about all the drop points we've had. And I think that's everyone at the club, including the fans and the players, need to calm down. We had a great result today, but it's all about the next game.
Agreed. Well said. Sam, what about you going forward? I mean, we've got Norwich next, and we've got Swansea after that, then Belgrade after that, and then it starts to get critical. Over the next couple of weeks, what do you think about Arsenal? What would you like to see them achieve and do?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously the games leading up to that, I'd like to see as many victories and clean sheets and goal scored as possible. I think that will be the case. I think we'll win the next couple of games. I think we're on target to do that. If I'm being brutally honest, the Manchester City game, I cannot see us picking up any points there.
Yeah.
I think, my personal opinion, they'll win the league. They are, so far, by far the best team in the league. Played the best football, best manager, best players. Easy to see why I think they're going to do well. The Tottenham game, for me, form goes out the window. It's all about the cojones, as Mr. Troy Deeney would say. It's all about character. It's all about mentality. It's just that everything on those days just goes out the window. And, you know, we have got to come away with at least a point in that game. We cannot lose to those up the road, because it's just not acceptable in any way, shape or form. Yes, they are, at this precise moment in time, a better team than us, but what we can match, we can better their heart work rate, determination. You know, we can put up a fight and give them a game. But I think over a 38-game season, I think they have a little bit more than we do, which is why they'll probably finish higher than us. I've looked at the league table. I think if you have a look already, the two clubs in Tottenham, they're like 5, 6, 7 points away from everybody else. I think Man City will win it, and the other two will fight out. And then I think you've got Chelsea, ourselves, and maybe Liverpool fighting for that one Champions League spot. I think that's pretty much how it'll go, to be honest with you.
So, I agree. I literally would second that. I think that's exactly how it will go. I think either way, I think the title's definitely on its way to Manchester. Whatever club you think it's going to is whatever club it's going to. I think it was a good performance today. It was encouraging to see us dominate a game, because even before the sending off, I thought we were playing well. You know, I think people who might watch this and think, "Oh, you guys beat 10 men, well done." We were 2-1 up before they got a man sent off, and we were dominating them. So it was good to see that, and it was encouraging to see that, because you could see every time we attacked, we had so much movement between AOL, as I'm now going to call them. We had so much movement between those three. You could see the defence was terrified, especially Ashley Williams. Easily the poorest I've seen him play. My gosh, I've never seen him play so badly. He looked so still, and it was brilliant to see. It was great to see our players making them look so average. But I'm also not going to get carried away, because I know what Arsenal are like. We're quite capable of losing to Swansea.
I think we've got to take. Let's put it in perspective. They are playing very poorly, Everton. They are third bottom.
Yes.
They've conceded God knows how many goals. I think their goal difference is like minus 12, 13. It was a good performance against. My opinion on football and all the rest of it is you're only as good as your last game. And today, we were excellent and they weren't very good. So we beat a team who wasn't very good today. There is lots of tests to come, but the performance was excellent today. Every man played well, I thought, which is the main thing. That's what we want. We want players playing well. And that's all we can ask for, I think, sometimes. As long as we play to the best of our abilities and put a performance in and week out, we won't get as frustrated, because we will all go away, we'll have these shows, we'll all talk between ourselves, and we've got beat by a better team. And sometimes that's how it goes. But what the most frustrating thing about Arsenal is when we see performances like this, and then, like you said, we'll probably go and lose against Swansea. We lost against, why didn't we put that performance in against Watford?
Watford.
Yeah, like Liverpool today, they were shocking.
Yeah.
And we got absolutely turned over by them.
But that's the difference between us, because if you watch that Chelsea-Watford game, in all honesty, Watford were the better team for about 80 minutes. But then Chelsea refused. And I just wish we would have that stubbornness in us when we play a football game. Because they refused to lose that game. Yeah. And that's why they ended up, the scoreline flattered them. To me, Watford were the better team for most of the game. And they were unlucky to lose that game yesterday. But I just wish Arsenal would develop that and carry that forward, even when they're not playing well. We don't necessarily expect them to play well in every single game. Just show a bit of fight sometimes.
That's why we get so annoyed. That's why I get so frustrated with it all, because we're brilliant. We're absolutely brilliant today, and then a week ago or a week tomorrow, we're absolutely shit. And it's so annoying that we've got it in our locker. We just want to be consistent. I would never, ever, go mad or, hate Arsenal because they didn't put it all their effort in and lost. If we lose, we get beat by a better team. That's football. That's what happens. You win some and you lose. But we never give ourselves the opportunity to do that. We half-heart it sometimes, and that's what's not good enough.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, guys. Well, let's wrap things up. I wanted to thank everybody for joining us this evening. It was good. We won, and I'm happy. I'm positive about it. So thank you so much for joining us. If you're listening to it the first time, do hit that subscribe button and obviously destroy that like button for me.
Not donkey kick it. Oh, that's leave it. That's leave it. Donkey
punching it is loose.
Donkey punch, isn't it? Donkey punch, isn't it?
Donkey punch out of the like button.
That's leave it. Lee, where are you? I know you're watching, mate. You know you're watching, mate. You ain't gonna miss it.
He's watching all the way back. He's watching. Shout out to Lee. But
I'm so dirty, mate.
Let the people know where they can find you on Twitter.
It's KennyKen1972. Like I said, we always love to chat about football. I only talk about Arsenal, so I do not want to know what you had for dinner. I don't care about your train journey, about whether you've hurt your finger, or whether you train, or whether your coach is late. I do not give a damn. You want to call someone, go and do that on Facebook. Like I said, I respect your family, love your family, everything, but I do think that you should be showing your photographs on Facebook. It's more appropriate for that. It's only football, it's football only for me.
Yeah. And Sam, where can they find you on Twitter?
Yeah, my handle is Footballing Hero.
Yep. And both links and handles should be in the description below, so go click on it, give them a follow. And also follow me at Colossal Chig, which should be in this little blue taper thing here. All right, people, we're out of here. Enjoy your Sunday evening. Arsenal won. Great stuff. Take care, people. Peace.